quite it's a tricky road because you can't really do both. You can't take it at face value also and take it at the deeper meaning of it at the same time. You can, but then you'll miss some things of both.
You can. It's just not going to be comfortable.
But like I see what you're saying.
You're comfortable because you dive deeper into it and find every possible outcome so that you know that you don't miss anything. But sometimes you have to take what is at face value to get the best outcome, even though you're going to miss exploring all of the other options, which may be lesser.
The best way I can describe the way I'm thinking right now is right now we have this window in front of us.
Sure.
This window represents face value.
All
if
right.
I'm looking past the window and I'm looking at that truck, I'm looking at the deeper thing of it, right? I know that the window's still there, but I'm not seeing all the details to the window. I know the window's there. I see the window as a whole, but I can tell you all the details of the truck because I'm looking at the truck.
But you don't see that scuff.
No. But now if I zoom out,
you don't see the sticker.
I see all the stickers, I see all this, and I see the truck in the distance, but I'm not really paying too much attention to it. I'm looking at this, right? So you can switch in between, but now you're going to miss stuff while you're switching in between. Right now I'm looking at the sticker, I'm looking at all that, but now there's stuff over there that I'm missing. And you can switch in between and you're never going to get the full picture of either one. You're only going to get bits and pieces of both. If you fully dive into one, you'll get all of all the other ones. If you fully dive into the window, you're going to get all of the window. It's hard to get all of this information and all of that information at the same time. Sure, it's doable. I can tell you what that truck says, and I'll zoom out and I can look at the sticker and I can look at the scuffs and I can look at all this stuff like that, and I can tell you what's on both, but I might miss some other stuff on either one.
You're not omnipotent.
Exactly.
Does it frustrate you?
Of course it does. Because there's all these options and I can only choose some of them. When I know there's other options, but now you can only choose one, and how are you supposed to know which option's the better one? Because certain times face value is better and sometimes digging deeper is better, depending on the circumstance.
So, I know what my answer is on this, but I'm curious what yours is. Would you say that you're more conscious than other people?
Am I more conscious than other people?
Yeah.
It all depends on what aspect you're referring to. As a whole,
consciousness, aware.
I want to say
ability
yes.
to make decisions.
I want to say yes. I notice things that most people, I feel like it's a broad way to say it, but like, yes, I would say yes. I notice how my actions impact the people around me, myself, the environment I'm in. I notice those things where some people won't. They'll say something and I'm like, you really just said that? Like, that could have affected this person, and you just casually said it. You didn't consider the possibility that what you said affected this person. And I'll give you an example. My little sister, she doesn't really have a filter. We're at my grandparents' house and she'll just say something. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is embarrassing because I'm related to this person and they're not considering, because my grandparents have a certain worldview, and now you're saying something that they consider might be wrong in a sense. And now they're going to view you in a certain way because you said that, and that's going to affect them, and that's going to affect how they perceive you. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I wouldn't have said that because I would have considered that possibility, and you did not consider that possibility. And if you did consider that possibility, you didn't care, which I would have cared. So either option, the fact that you said that, in my mind, is not okay. You should have considered it a little bit better. Because granted, sometimes there's situations where you should still say something despite it, like, having an effect on somebody.
Yes.
But not always. And there's certain people that just do not think about how they could affect somebody. And I'll give you another example. I'm filling up gas, right? I see a bunch of people on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Right? And you get a customer, you're like, hey, have a good day. And they ignore you. And they keep going about their day. I don't know how their day's going. I don't know what's going on in their life. Anything like that. Now, I have options. I could be like a dick back and be like, whatever. But that could just add to add some fuel to the flame. Right? But also, in the same sense, from their perspective, like, if I'm them now, me ignoring them, that's having an effect on me. They have no idea what's going on in my life. They're not considering that possibility. They're just thinking about their own life right now and their own hardships, and they're like, I'm having a bad day right now. Fuck this person. Don't talk to me. I'm just getting in my car. I'm out of here. right? They're not considering that possibility. They're not aware. Where I will now, if I'm in that situation, I would act differently because I'm aware. So yes, to answer your question, I do think I'm more aware than a lot of people around me.
More conscious.
More conscious, yes.
Does that bother you?
Yes, because it pisses me off. Because why are you not thinking about these things? Because your actions are actively having effect on everybody around you, and you're not paying enough attention to it. You obviously don't care enough to pay attention to it, because if you did care enough, you would pay attention to it, but you don't. And that pisses me off, because I cannot do nothing about how you are perceiving the world, how you're acting. I have no control over it. That bugs me.
I think you give the vast majority of people in day-to-day life more credit than they deserve for being conscious.
Meaning?
Meaning, I think for all these people that you are judging in a sense of the word, right? For how conscious they are, or how well they can assess what's around them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you are intelligent, right? And other people may not be. Or you may be more conscious than other people, because I don't think majority of people stop to even think about half of the things we've said tonight.
No, and I agree.
Most people do not even ever
pisses
consider
me
it
off.
in their life.
Because how am I at my young age thinking about these things, and you're not at your big age? Like, you've had more years, more time to have these type of thoughts. So what were you thinking at this point? During your whole life, you're telling me you've never gone down these paths? You've never connected these dots? What dots were you connecting?
None.
How good you look in a suit?
Damn.
How this and this affects, or like whatever, like all these things that don't really matter. Because I know that my actions, if I do this and that affects you, that matters. That's something that does matter. Because if I affect you in a certain way,
there's going to be a repercussion.
Yeah. And those repercussions will now, it might not affect me in this situation. If I'm a dick to you, I'm like, whatever, I go about my day. That might never affect me, but that might affect their children. They might go home and now they're mad because of the way I treated them. Now they blow up at their wife. They blow up at their kids. They do whatever. Because of that. That never affected me, but affected all them, and that becomes in a chain. Now their kids picked up those puzzle pieces, those negative puzzle pieces, and now that goes into their picture. And now that affects their kids. Now it affects their kids. And it goes in this chain. And it all goes, it's like the butterfly effect.
That's exactly what you're describing.
So you should always be conscious of how you are acting, how you're letting yourself be perceived to others. Because like I said, every interaction, you're building a picture. Every single one. How other people perceive you. You're giving other people puzzle pieces, which affects how they perceive themselves, the world, all that other type of stuff. It's all affecting everything. People think that their decisions don't really matter that much, but every single decision matters a lot. Every single one. Because every single one will make the story change just a little bit. Me going out tonight versus staying in changes the story. I develop in a different way. You develop in a different way. You'll go home. You might have learned something tonight. You might have not learned something tonight based on the decisions. Now, based on your decision to either choose to listen or choose to ignore, choose to learn or choose to not learn, will make a decision, have an effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every single decision has, what's the saying? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It goes a lot deeper than people think, because it really does. And yes, it does bug me that people don't consider this. Because why not? And Brandon is one of those people that don't do that. At least to the extent that I do, and it bugs me. Because if I can do it, you can do it too.
That may be something you're wrong on.
Maybe. But it just seems... And I know
It
that
seems
people
simple
say that
to you.
common sense is, once you connect the dots, You've built the path. It's easy to travel the path, but if it's rocky terrain, you haven't connected the dots yet, you're obviously going to be struggling to get to the destination. But once you've cleared the rubble and it's a straight path, obviously it seems like it's common sense because you can go boom, boom, wherever. It's easy. But somebody else haven't made that trip yet, so when you try to explain it to them, they're getting stuck on all the like debris and whatever it may be.
All the small things.
That's a bar. But yeah, so I understand to me it seems like common sense, but to the other people it does not common sense. But it only took me a couple years to get to this thing. You can do it too if you just decide to do it. I believe that anybody can accomplish anything that they put their mind to.
Let me ask you a question, right? Because
Let's hear this question.
I have to stop you here. Let's take it back a couple years, right? About like 4 years.
Okay. OG Big Nader.
Or like 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is.
Hello?
This never comes home. The day that me, Nathan, and Spencer are fucking around in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan never has that fateful interaction with her.
Mm-hmm.
Would he still be the same person he is right now having this conversation? Would he even be this introspective about thinking about all these things and going this deep down the rabbit hole? Or would dude just still be face value in a Honda Civic?
I don't think I'd be the same person I am today, but whether I've came to the same conclusion that I have now, I can't really say for sure.
Do you think you would think this deep?
Yes. I've always thought deep.
Okay.
But now would I have connected the same dots that I've got to this point? Probably not. I might have came to the same conclusion, but I might have connected different dots to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can tell you for like certain things, like in a relationship, I've learned things through the hard times, through the good times, that have taught me certain things, certain principles, certain values that now I'm going to take to my next relationship, or if this relationship continues, I'm going to take it to that relationship and be a different person, be a better person because of those circumstances. Now, if I never met Jessica, I can give you a possibility, like a different circumstance. I meet a different girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then every situation has, or every different situation has like different outcomes. Obviously, it's not going to be the same relationship as Jessica. So, but I will be the same person. Same person that met Jessica would be the same person that met this girl, because it's that one point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm still going to have the same problems that I had at this.
Still that current version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have the same like thoughts, the same
yeah.
red flags, I guess, in a sense, which I'm going to carry on to that relationship. Now, that girl's going to react differently than reacted to that Nathan, which might teach me a different lesson than what that other one taught me there. With Jessica, I realized that I prioritize my own time over other people's time, what I want over what other people want. And in a relationship, you can't do that, because you're not just yourself, you're together, you're one. Your actions have to line up with their actions. Your wants have to line up with their wants, mostly.
What in the world?
So now, for an example, like simple thing as picking a TV show. If it's always just what I want, you're never considering what they want, and that's affecting them. Now she's going to react in a certain way, and this other girl's going to react a certain way. This other girl might just listen. Whatever I want, just do whatever I want, which will never teach me that lesson. Jessica pushed back. Obviously, there's just more than just the show that made her push back, but she pushed back, which made me reflect. If I never had the chance to reflect based on that circumstance, I would have never connected those dots, because I would have been like, there's no problem here. You know what I mean? So, would I have been the same person that I am today? No. Would I have been as deep? Would I have thought as deep? Yes, but probably in a different ways. But now, to dive further into what I said before and add this together, I think other people can think deep, as long as, because I've collected puzzle pieces, right? I'm going to use my puzzle piece theory, that now have taught me to think deeply, right? So if now the other person collects those puzzle pieces to make them think deeply, they can start thinking deeply too. But they have to collect those puzzle pieces.